What if the reason you're not healing is because you were never supposed to? Everywhere you look, therapy apps, antidepressants, mental health awareness campaigns tell you the same thing. You're broken, you need help, you can't fix yourself. But what if that message is the problem? Because the truth is, the mental health industry doesn't profit when you're free. It profits when you're dependent. The system doesn't heal you, it manages you. And in doing so, it teaches your brain that you are the illness it's supposed to overcome. Your brain isn't broken, it's programmable. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, but really, it's just reinforcement learning. Every thought you repeat strengthens its neural pathway. Every emotional reaction is a pattern your mind learns to recognize and recreate. The brain is a biological algorithm, constantly updating itself based on the data you feed it. So when you spend your days diagnosing yourself on TikTok, talking endlessly about trauma, and labeling every emotion as a disorder, you're not healing. You're training your mind to loop that identity. It's like telling a computer to run a process non-stop and wondering why it's overheating. Carl Jung warned about this a century ago. He said, the things we repress, the shadows we avoid, end up controlling us. But now we don't repress our shadows, we monetize them. We build brands out of our pain, and the algorithm rewards it. Every share, every comment, every piece of content about your struggle feeds the loop. You become what you focus on. Nietzsche said, "He who fights with monsters should take care lest he become one." Today, the monster isn't outside of us. It's the feedback loop of our own minds. Here's where it gets darker. The modern mental health system isn't built on healing. It's built on management. Michel Foucault called this the medical gaze, the way power disguises itself as care. Pharmaceutical companies, therapy platforms, and content creators all converge on the same model. Turn human suffering into recurring revenue. A pill for depression, a subscription for anxiety, a monthly session for your burnout. It's a $300 billion industry that grows in direct proportion to how sick society feels. Because the more people identify as patients, the more predictable they become. The goal isn't to cure you, it's to stabilize you just enough to stay functional inside the system. SSRIs don't teach your brain resilience, they flatten effect. Therapy often becomes a form of narrative rehearsal. You tell the same trauma story week after week, strengthening the same neural pathways that caused it. They call it treatment, but it's really just optimization for compliance. Foucault was right. This isn't medicine. It's social control dressed as empathy. And the most brilliant part, it doesn't even need to force you. You willingly sign up for it because it feels like care. Your brain isn't the only algorithm being trained. Your phone is learning from you too. Social media is an externalized nervous system, a giant machine studying your triggers, your fears, your dopamine cycles. It knows that negativity holds attention longer than peace. That outrage keeps you scrolling. That self-pity sells better than self-mastery. So it feeds you the same kind of energy your mind already loops internally. You get stuck in a digital hall of mirrors where your suffering is reflected back at you 1,000 times a day. It's Freud's unconscious, but weaponized. He said that what you refuse to make conscious will control you from the shadows. Now, those shadows are data points. Your pain has been quantified, analyzed, and monetized. You think you're escaping by venting online, but you're just reinforcing the exact identity the algorithm wants you to keep. Your trauma becomes content. Your despair becomes engagement. Your anxiety becomes ad revenue. You aren't just a user, you're a product. And the more broken you feel, the more valuable you become. The system has evolved past chains and cages. It now controls through comfort. In Orwell's world, people obeyed out of fear. In ours, they obey out of convenience. You take the pill, you go to therapy, you download the app, and you call that progress. But it's not progress, it's sedation. Aldous Huxley warned us that people wouldn't have to be forced into submission. They'd love their servitude. They'd trade freedom for comfort, autonomy for relief. That's what mental health awareness has become. A cultural anesthetic, a way to keep people pacified while believing they're getting better. They say, don't fight it, manage it, don't question the system, trust the experts. But what if the experts built a system designed to keep you endlessly managing, never transcending? They don't need to silence rebels when everyone is too numbed to notice the cage. So what's the alternative? It starts with one radical idea. If your brain is programmable, then whoever controls your inputs controls your mind. That means the only path to freedom is cognitive decentralization, taking back control of what programs you. Every day, your mind is being coded by algorithms, by culture, by pharmaceutical marketing. But you can rewrite that code. You can become the architect, not the end user. The Stoics already knew this. Epictetus said, happiness begins with understanding what's within your control and letting go of what isn't. Your emotions aren't random, they're signals. But you don't have to worship them. You can retrain them. Kierkegaard called it the leap of faith, acting without perfect knowledge. You don't wait to feel ready. You take the leap, and meaning follows. Every decision is a reprogramming command. Alan Watts said the past doesn't drive the boat, the present does. Every moment you focus on creation instead of consumption, you rewrite your timeline. Jung believed that integrating the shadow was the highest form of healing, not suppressing the darkness, not labeling it, but using it as raw energy for transformation. That's what real therapy should be, the process of becoming your own algorithm designer. Here's how you start. Curate your inputs. Limit algorithmic conditioning. Replace doom scrolling with deliberate attention. Replace consumption with creation. Write, build, compose. Do anything that forces the brain to generate rather than absorb. Train attention like a muscle. Meditation, gratitude, and visualization aren't spiritual fluff. They're rewiring commands. Redefine your identity. You're not a patient, you're a programmer. Every thought you focus on is a line of code in the system of your mind. When you start thinking this way, you'll notice something strange. The system begins to lose interest in you. You stop feeding it energy. You stop being predictable. Because a decentralized mind is unprofitable. It can't be advertised to, pacified, or pathologized. It becomes self-governing, its own network of meaning and awareness. And that terrifies the system. Because when enough people reprogram their own minds, the industrial complex collapses. There's no market for healed, conscious, self-reliant individuals. That's the real revolution. Not in medicine, not in policy, in attention. Because whatever controls your attention controls your reality. And the moment you reclaim it, you reclaim yourself. You're not broken. You're not a diagnosis. You're not a collection of chemical imbalances or trending hashtags. You are a living network of consciousness capable of rewriting its own code. So stop letting institutions define your sanity. Stop feeding systems that thrive on your pain, and start building the version of yourself they can't profit from, because they can't control a decentralized mind. And that's exactly what you're becoming. If this made you think differently, share it with someone who's ready to unplug from the mental health machine, because healing isn't rebellion, it's revolution.